Quick story on why I'm glad and fortunate that I have a fistula in my arm now instead of the CVC catheter. After peritoneal dialysis failed for me due to reoccurrence of peritonitis, a very horrible infection that you can get when doing that type of modality, was transitioned into in-center hemodialysis at 17 years old. I was just a baby. First, I had a chest catheter right there. I had that catheter in for about maybe 2 to 3 years. Unfortunately, one day that catheter got infected and I had a blood-borne infection in my blood. It literally almost killed me. Thank God I was asleep when they removed that catheter. Then, because I didn't have a fistula at that time, they had to do an emergency surgery to place another catheter on this side. I had that catheter probably for another year or two. So again, I had this perm cath for a couple years after this one was removed, my original one. And then I had the surgery to have my fistula placed. After I woke up from the surgery, I just remember feeling this little motor, what it felt like inside my arm. And then for the next maybe year or so, they still used this catheter. Now, when the fistula finally was developed enough to be able to use, it was time to remove this catheter. I remember I went to the access center and they told me that they weren't going to put me to sleep, that they were just going to numb the site, the area, and that they were going to pull it out. And I was like, oh no, I was like, please, can you just give me something, put me to sleep? I was a little nervous because I was only about maybe 19 years old, somewhere around there, 19, 20. And I just didn't know what to expect. When they first start you on dialysis, this catheter is usually placed on the left side because it's a direct port that goes straight into your heart in order to pump the blood out and get the cleansing, right? Because that one got infected and it was removed, this one, it went around my neck, through the back of my spinal cord into my heart. And the day of, they were just numbing that site with lidocaine, right? With these huge needles. And they said that it wasn't really gonna hurt, but there was gonna be a lot of pressure when they removed it out. And I remember I'm just sitting there on this stretcher and they're like, "You ready, Marcelo?" I'm like, "I guess." So finally they grab it with two hands. And all I remember was the lady counting down 3, 2, 1. And then she just starts pulling. And I literally feel it just coming out of me. Just, and you feel the catheter just like coming out of your, like the back of your neck, and then oh man, this felt like this gunk, and it was so long. The catheter was very long, and there was a lot of pressure. It was almost like I got hit very hard with a punch or with a rock, and there wasn't really much pain, but again, there was a lot of pressure. But the recovery afterwards, that's when you felt all the bruising and all the pain after that. But I will never forget that sensation that I felt, that tube, you know, just getting pulled and just the, you know, that feeling of it passing my neck and getting pulled out. I don't recommend that for anyone, but I mean, in order to stay alive, what can you do, right? I know some people that have had a catheter for many years because they're not able to get a fistula anywhere else. They just don't have good veins or good blood flow. So, you know, you do what you can. And I just thank God now that I have a fistula and I use buttonhole needles, and I've had this for more than 15 years. And now, I mean, I never had any issues with it, never had a blood clot. And I really contribute that to One, the buttonhole needles that I use, that they're not sharp. They're just a dull needle that I just put in my arm in the same spot every single time. And the fact that I stick myself. So for anybody out there that is scared of needles and is scared of getting a fistula, I'm telling you that is the best access that you can have. But at the end of the day, you do what you can, right? You do what you can. But the benefit of getting those catheters removed out of my body, I never liked tubes hanging from me. But that very first time I was able to have a warm shower, because when you have the catheters, you're not able to have a shower because you can't get it wet. But that very first day, that it was about at least 3 to 4 years that I didn't have a warm shower and have warm water hit the back of my neck and hit my head, really. And I just remember that, and I was just like in heaven to have warm water just touch me, in that area. So I thank God, and I'm grateful that now I do dialysis at home, and I'm just responsible, right? I'm the captain of my ship, of my treatments. I'm responsible for my medication, my blood work, my treatments, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm very thankful for that.